Good morning and what is today? Today's Tuesday. Today is Tuesday morning. How we all doing this morning? How did it already become Tuesday? Yesterday was crazy, but you know what? Hey, let's go ahead and add, let's see what we can do here. There it is. Good morning. How we doing this morning? Happy day. I was going to try and change. Where's it at? Edit. Da-doom. Da-doom. Good morning. Good morning. How we doing this morning? Do you guys have a good Monday? Hopefully you all had a good Monday. Hopefully. Mine was a little crazy. I did some traveling yesterday. I had to go to my other site and help out there. But this morning, we're going to see if we can make a thread catcher this morning. Hopefully. Good morning, Miss Amy. Good morning. Good morning. Nice to have you back. Hopefully your guys' wedding went good. Everybody had fun. Good morning, good morning. Had to get a little bit more coffee in this morning. It was fabulous. Awesome. Awesome. Glad to hear. We're going to let a few people join in this morning, and then we'll get started. Moving back home this week? Awesome. I'm sure you've probably enjoyed your time, but you're probably ready to go home, huh? It's like you have two different homes there. Very cool. Very cool. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday to everybody. Good morning, Jen. Good morning, Bessie. Good morning. We are going to be working on a thread catcher today, and I got a little surprise at the end. I'm going to show y'all how to make another quilt square. I know I showed y'all yesterday how to do a quilt square on the top of those, on the top of the bowl covers. So I showed you guys how to do this quilt square. I got another easy quilt square for you guys to do. So I'm going to show you guys after we get done making the thread catcher. And hopefully we can figure this thread catcher out. So fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. Once we get done making the thread catcher, then I will show you guys how to make another easy quilt square. So I'm gonna try and add in a couple, different quilt squares for you guys to make something easy, quick, because every once in a while we have those things where people are like, hey, I need a quilt. Can I get a quilt? People don't understand. It takes a little bit to make those quilts, but there's a few tricks that you can do a few quilts and whip them out pretty easily. So you can easily, what I'm going to show you, you can easily make a quilt in a day, at least a lap quilt, a baby quilt, because a lot of times those requests that you get are for baby quilts. Hey, I'm going to be having a baby shower next week. Can you give me a quilt for that? Oh, sure, no problem. Yeah, okay. Then you start sewing, right? So, I'm going to show you guys an easy quilt square to make on there. So, but first thing we're going to do is we are going to be making a thread catcher. I had a request to do a thread catcher. So if you guys have any requests on what you would like me to make on live, let me know, because I can make whatever you guys like. If I don't know how to do it, I'll go search up the pattern and we'll figure it out together, guys. We're going to figure it out together. I do have a thing, and I've made these on live before, but I have an idea, and I'll see if you guys might want to. Let me grab. So I make bears. So I'm thinking, how would you guys like to make a bear on live? We can make a bear on live. His eyes are kind of catty cornered. I embroidered the eyes and didn't realize he was a little crooked. So, but what we can do is we can do a bear on live again too. So they stitch together pretty quickly. So it's kind of, yeah, right? So I'm thinking a bear maybe in next week's schedules. So I think a bear might be in the next week's schedules. So this is actually my grandmother's pattern that I have. So kind of fun, kind of fun. And then I add embroideries to the middle of it. So makes it a little fun. So I still haven't stitched him up. I know I need to stitch him up. But anyways, I'm thinking we'll do a bear on next week's live. So thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. So what we're going to do, we'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, I had a request. Somebody had asked us to do a thread catcher. So the thread catcher I have all set up. I've got it all cut out. So I'm going to show you guys the sizes we needed. So we needed, let's see here, because I think we needed, here we go. So we needed 2 pieces of the big fabric, and this is a 17.5 by 8.5. So this is your outer fabric that we have. And then this is another piece, same size, the 17.5 by 8.5, which I have this posted on my page. So if you go click on my page, I have this posted there for you guys. So this is a 17.5. This is the lining. This is you only need 1 piece of lining on there. So we have those 2 pieces, and then I have the 4.5 by 10 inches, and then we have the 3.5 by 10 inches. So a couple other things you need. It says, because I'm going by some instructions that I found. So I did a Google because I hadn't really made a thread catcher. So I went Googling and I found a free pattern. I will show you guys that free pattern. It says you need a stabilizer. So for the around the edge, that way it kind of keeps it open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a 1/2 inch elastic. I'm just not going to make it stretchy. So we're just going to stitch it around there when we get to that point. And that way it keeps the opening there. So you need that. And then it said for the pillow, because you have like a pillow thing that keeps it, that's a little heavy, that keeps it up on top of your counter. That way when the thread catcher folds off, it stays up there. Well, it said rice, sand, it said walnut shells. I had never seen walnut shells, but I guess they said you can get those at the pet store. I don't have any of those, but I got beans. I got beans in the cabinet, so those are kind of heavy. So we're going to use beans. Not sure how it'll work for a pin cushion, but it's okay. I don't need a pin cushion, so we're going to just do it that way. We're going to do it that way. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and get started here. So the first thing we need to do is we need to take let's see, I'm going to go down here. I'm looking at my instructions as I got my instructions behind us here. Go down. So the first thing we're gonna do is, like I said, we're gonna take these pieces. So I'm gonna iron the 3.5 by 10 and the 4.5 by 10. So I'm gonna iron these. I'm gonna spray these. A thread catcher. So a thread catcher is, hold on, I will show you guys what a thread catcher is. So this, and you'll see the pattern I used too. I'm going to flip this around, that way you guys can see. So this is the pattern that I used, and that is a thread catcher. So what it is so as you're sewing and you have the pieces of thread that you cut off, you need somewhere to throw those pieces of thread besides on the floor. So you have a little bag next to your sewing machine or next to on your cutting table that you can cut all those threads off and throw into those into the little bitty bags. So, and you see it has like a pillow up on top. Those pillows, like I said, they have it with like sand or rice, something heavy. So I'm throwing some beans in there. So, because beans are fairly heavy. Beans are fairly heavy. So, but that is the pattern that I'm using. Is that I didn't have a pattern, so I figured, you know what, somebody else has got a pattern. So we're gonna go Google it. So I went and found that one. So, kind of like a garbage bowl for, yeah, actually, yeah. Same thing, so exact same thing. All right, so we're gonna iron this fabric here, because like I said, you have a 4.5 and a 3.5 by 10. So here's your 4.5 by 10. This one is for your pillow thing, what else you want to call it. And then this one is for the little strap. So we're gonna follow instructions here. I said, you guys are gonna go through these instructions with me here, guys. You guys are gonna go through these instructions with me. So what it does is it says, and it's all the seams on that we're sewing is a 1/4 inch seam. We're gonna do a 1/4 inch seam on all these. So we're gonna take the 3.5 by 10 and we're gonna fold it in half like this. I'm gonna go ahead and press that down. So then what we're gonna do is we're going to stitch down both sides. Let's see. Yeah, so we're gonna stitch down these two sides right here, leave this side open. That way we can turn it the other side. So let's go ahead and go stitch this. We're going on walkabouts again, guys. We're going on walkabouts again. And plus, guys, check out my shirt. So Miss Debbie, I had sent her some stuff. And so she sent me a thank you. Isn't that the funnest shirt? That's what I feel like sometimes. I'm like drowning in my fabric, but I'm okay. I'm okay, I promise. I promise I'm okay. All right. Right? Isn't that fun? Fun, fun. Okay. So we're going to go to the sewing machine. We're going to have some fun here, guys. We're going to have some fun. Okay. So, like I said, this is a 3.5 by 10 folded in half. Good morning. So 3.5 by 10 folded in half. We're going to sew down this seam, and then we're going to sew down this seam. And then that way it leaves the top opening. We're just now getting started. So we're just now getting started. Thank you for the heart, Good morning. Good morning. I love the little guy. He's just the cutest thing. So, so what we're going to do is sew down, and then we'll flip it around on there. So, like I said, 1/4 inch seam on these. We're going to do 1/4 inch seam on these. We're going to put my little piece of fabric in there again. And then we're going to go to the other side, get that one stitched out. Here we go. Stitch this one down. Now we'll go back to the cutting table. That one. Okay. Go back that way. We'll go that way. Okay, I'm gonna try, it said remove background noise. So we're gonna try and see what that does. See what that does. I posted a video on YT so you guys could see the bowl covers from yesterday. And then I got a thing saying, hey, copyright. And I'm like, copyright? What are you talking about? It heard the Journey song. It heard the Journey song. So we're gonna turn this inside out. Press out those corners. I just use my finger. You can use like a stick or the end of a pin, the end of your seam ripper. Get this turned inside out here. So we're going to turn this inside out. Thank you for the follow, Lorraine. Thank you, thank you. I said we're making a thread catcher today. We are doing a thread catcher today. And once we get done with that thread catcher, y'all, I have a new quilt square to show you guys. I have a new quilt square to show you guys, and you're gonna like it. I promise you're gonna like it. It's kind of cool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna press this one down. We'll press this down. Okay. So this one's pressed down. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the pillow. So on the pillow, you have this one here. So you have, this is your 4.5 by 10. So on the 4.5 by 10, we're going to fold it in half right here like this. And then you want to take and put this right in the center. So you're going to take this piece right here. Like I said, I've never made one of these, so you guys are going to hold in here with me. So it says center this right there. That way it gets stitched across there. I'm going to fold this up right here like this because we don't want to stitch that on the other side. So I'm going to fold it up like that and then fold this over here. And then that way this gets stitched. You want to make sure this gets stitched here. That way, because it's going to hold the bag down there. So again, this is your 4.5 by 10. And then this is your 3.5 by 10 turned inside out. We get a flash goal here, guys. Let's do that flash goal. Start. There we go. So we have this one, which was a 3.5 by 10 turned inside out. You had the bottom side open there. So thank you very much. So what we did, this is the 4.5 by 10. I folded in half. You see it's folded in half there. Thank you. So folding in half there. So then we take this and we kind of center it on the 1/2. You center it on the 1/2 because, like I said, the one side up here, that's gonna. My showing is on. My showing is on. So there is that. And then we're going to fold this over like this. Oops. We're going to pin over that one because we don't want to. So we're going to fold this down. That way that one doesn't get stitched because that's going to get stitched onto the bottom. So we're going to fold this back over like this. And now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch across the bottom right here. Oh, awesome. Okay, I got you now. I was like, I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I apologize. Sometimes I'm a little slow, guys. Sometimes I'm a little slow. All right, so we are doing a thread catcher today. Just so you know, so thread catcher. I'm going to show you guys what a thread catcher is and show you whose pattern I'm using. Because like I said, I went and did a Google because I had never made a thread catcher, y'all. So this is the thread catcher we are making today. Because one of y'all had a request that we do a thread catcher. So we're doing that thread catcher. So we're doing this pattern along together. You guys get to do this pattern with me. So we're going back to the sewing machine. We're going to do a stitch across here. And like I said, once we get this thread catcher made, I'm going to show you guys how to make a fun quilt square. I know I showed y'all yesterday how to make a quilt square. It was a fun one to make, and we put it in. That was a really good word, right? Put it in the middle of that rope bowl. So made a, or not rope bowl. Why am I stuck on rope bowl, Scott? On the bowl covers. You've made these? Awesome. Well, maybe you can help me. If we get to a stuck point, you can help me. How about that? I'll take help. I take help anytime we can here. So like I said, so we have the 4.5 by 10, and then you have your 3.5 by 10 in here that's turned inside out. I have it folded up so we don't catch it on the bottom. We want to catch it on the top, and we're going to take and sew across there, and then we're going to sew across there, and then we'll turn it inside out, and then we'll have that pillow that we need to stuff. If I'm right, we're going to find out, guys. Like I said, I'm playing by, I have a hard time sometime with patterns, so just as an FYI, guys. So we're going to have that folded up. So we're going to sew this one down. And then we're going to go to the other side, sew this one. That one caught there. So now we're going to sew this one. Here we go. Grab that one. Okay. Hopefully I'm doing this right. Okay. All right. So we've sewed this. Now we're going to, like I said, I'm going to scroll down on this pattern here, guys. Because like I said, you guys are doing this pattern with me. We're having a little fun here. So I'm going to turn this inside out here. Oh, and I think I needed to sew. Hold on. I needed to sew a little bit there. That way we don't have the whole corner. Hold on. Hold on. I know I usually don't do this, but I got to sew just a little bit and that way we have the corners there. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. There we go. So now we're going to turn this inside out. Had to leave a hole for, like I said, It calls for rice, sand, or walnut shells, I think is what it said. I don't have any of those, but you just need something heavy in there. You need something heavy in there. So we're throwing beans, y'all. We're going to throw beans in here. We're going to throw some beans in here. So we're going to turn this. Get this one turned. Get our corner here. There's that corner. Okay. There is our corner. And then if we bring that in. So there's our little pillow. So now what we're going to do, I thought beans are a good idea. They're kind of heavy, right? Who doesn't have pinto beans? You know, hey, what the heck? Thanks for the follows. Thanks for the follows, guys. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fill this up with beans because they're a little heavy. The beans are a little heavy. We'll go down just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. This shirt is fun on my live. I'm like, every time I look, I'm like, okay, I'm okay. I promise I'm okay. Thanks for the follows, guys. Okay, so there is a little handle. So this right here is going to hold the bag down there. So we'll actually be sewing that onto the bag. This is your pillow. If you're from Arizona, you got to have pinto beans. And y'all, if you're from Arizona, you got to go down and get beans from Bonita. They're really good beans. So, okay. So we're going to put these beans in here. We're going to fill this up. I know I probably grabbed a few more beans than I really needed. Just means I need to make a pot of beans. Beans are good. You were born there? Very cool. Very cool. I grew up here. I was actually born in Texas. But I grew up in Arizona, so. Tucson, Phoenix area, where are you from? Sorry, taking a little bit, fill this up. Not a very big bag, but. Fill this up with beans. It's making it heavy. Get back here, bean. So like I said, we're going to be making this thread catcher. Once we get the thread catcher made, I have a surprise quilt square that I want to show you guys how to make. So I think you're going to enjoy the surprise quilt square. I like to Baghdad, Arizona. Very cool. Lived in Globe. I'm in Globe. I am in Globe. How cool is that? I am actually the director of IT for the county here. So very cool. Yeah, I live in Globe. I do. Yep. How cool is that? Isn't that crazy? I live outside of Globe, and actually go to Roosevelt. You went to grade school there. How cool. My son actually, we moved here back in, 2013. My son actually graduated high school here from Globe High. So he's a tiger. Very cool. So are you a tiger at heart? The school here is their theme thing is tigers here. Okay. So I think that's enough. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take and always, right? So very cool. Well, very nice to meet you. My name is Carrie, by the way, if you guys are joining my live Chickadee Treasures on there. My name is Carrie. I am on Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6:30 in the morning, Arizona time. We're having some fun this week. Your mom graduated from my small world, right? It is a small world. Is that not crazy? That is cool. Very cool. All right, so we're going to stitch across here. Let's take it back to the sewing machine. I don't fill it up. We're not going to fill it up all the way because I want to be able to get this under my presser foot, and that way we can stitch it. I don't hand stitch. I try my best when I do projects not to hand stitch. So I'm not very good at hand stitching, so I try not to have to hand stitch those. So these are hold on, let me show you here. We are making a thread catcher. I went and found, somebody had requested a thread catcher, so I went and found a pattern for it. It's a free pattern that I found online. So this is what we're going to be using. So this is what we're making. So let me flip you back around here. So we have, my beans are falling out. we used beans. So they have on there, they're like, the choices on there was sand, rice, walnut shells. I hadn't seen walnut shells, guys. The walnut shells, you sewed the same one? Yeah, it seems fairly easy to follow. So I'm like, okay, why not, right? Why not? So, and help, you know, you guys can go check her page out and look at her patterns. Help her out too. I like to help my fellow sewers out. So, all right, so we have it filled full of beans. And like I said, I left like a good inch there and didn't fill it up all the way. That way I can get this piece of fabric under my foot. That way we can sew it with the sewing machine. So let's go ahead and get that sewed. We're gonna push that down there. And we're gonna go ahead and sew all the way across there. I'm gonna sew it again. Oh, I think it's all right. Okay. I think we're good there. Okay. So now we're gonna go back over here and we're gonna get that pattern back out. We're gonna get that pattern back. We're doing good so far, guys. We're doing good so far. All right. So now we're gonna move. Woo, hot flash. So I went to the doctor the other day and she goes, are you going through menopause? I'm like, I don't know. She goes, well, we can do blood work to find out. Well, guess what? I'm going through menopause. So go figure, that's where all the hot flashes are from, right? Okay. So we have the weighted bag. So this is going to be what's going to sit on your table. And then this is going to come down. This is going to actually connect to your bag down there. So that one's going to connect to your bag. Like I said, you guys might have to help me partially on this pattern here. So, but I think we're going okay so far. Like she said, the pattern's fairly easy to follow. So that makes it kind of nice. That one makes it kind of nice. So we're going to trim that off. Like I said, I used beans. We used beans for here. I'm excited. I'm excited. We've gotten so far. So, like I said, I usually just use my own patterns on things, but I didn't have a pattern for this, so we're going along with this one. So we're going to scroll on down. So now what it says is we're going to take so you have a, good morning, good morning. So we have the lining piece, and then we have the outside piece for the bag. So now what it says is you're going to take your right sides, put your fabrics right sides together. And then with your right sides together, we're going to sew a seam across here. So we're going to stitch a seam all the way across, right? Isn't that some pretty fabric? We're going to stitch a seam all the way across there, and then we're going to open it up. We are making a thread catcher. You know those, the thread catcher that you have that sits on the table? You know what? I'm going to do something. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to grab a screenshot of this. That way I can have it up here while we're looking at the pattern. So, doom. That way when I hop off here, you guys can see. And I'm grabbing her page too. That way I want to help her out. Let's see. So I'm going to grab this, come down here. Grab this, come over here. That way you guys can see. That way you can see. I'm going to scroll back down to our instructions because we're following instructions, guys. Like I said, I had never made one of these. So, but I want you to see. So we are making one of these, a thread catcher, guys. So that is what we're making. You have the same shirt. Is it not fun? It is the funnest shirt, guys. Funnest shirt. So now we're at this step where we're sewing the lining together. So we have the lining and the outside fabric sewed together. So this is the larger piece that's 17.5 by 18.5. So we are sewing. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for the follow. Thanks for the follow. So we are going to sew. So these are right sides together. Right sides together. Fun fabric, right? I'm with you on that one. So thank you, Miss Cynthia. Good morning. Good morning. He's just the cutest thing. You got to say hi. So we're going to take and sew a 1/4 inch seam. and join these two together on the long edge. On the long edge, so that 17.5 edge, we're going to sew together with a 1/4 inch seam, y'all. So let's go ahead and get this sewed together, and then we'll go back over to the table here. Sew that there. Like I said, I do have I have the sizes needed to make this posted up on my page. So I'm trying to make it as easy for you guys as possible. So we're gonna sew this. Like I said, I'm following these instructions with you guys here, so. All right, back to the table again. Good morning, good morning. How's Miss Amy this morning? We're having fun this morning, guys. Okay. So now we have these two pieces sewed together. So let's go ahead and press these open. So I'm going to do is I'm going to press. I'm good. I am good. Good morning. Good morning, Selena. So I'm going to press these open here. I'm going to press the seams open. Because I think all right. So the pattern is, let me show you who's the pattern by. Like I said, I Googled it and found a free pattern. This is a free pattern, guys. So that's the pattern that you're looking at. Good morning, Miss Renee. Good morning. Thank you guys for the gifts. You guys are awesome. So that is the pattern that I'm using. It's a free pattern, guys. So if you go and Google that, you should be able to find it. You should be able to find it. Maybe just put Thread Catcher by Erica. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, so I'm not going to try it. So we won't try that one. So like I said, right? I think they're going to be cute. So we're going to find out. So we're going to go down here. So now what it says you need a stabilizer across. So we're going to say, turn your project. So we're going to, I think, fold it this way. Fold it that way. We're going to see. I'm hoping this works, guys. I'm trying to read this pattern as we're going. Like I said, I've never made this, so. And then it takes, so for the stabilizer, like I said, I have a 1/2 inch of elastic. I'm just not going to use it as elastic because it needs, you said you need some like stable fabric there. So that's what we're going to use. This is what we're going to use. So, and then pin along the edge adds a stabilizer for the bag. So looks like this is going to go down by the lining. That way it makes it a little bit stabler. Stabler? I'm coming up with words, guys. I'm coming up with words. It's a little bit stabler. And then we're going to fold this over this way. I'm going to have to... So we're going to put this... I mean, I guess you could actually take a... Found it. Awesome. You are very welcome, ma'am. It said I went Googling looking for a thread catcher, and I came across this one, and it's free. Who doesn't like free, guys? Who doesn't like free? I like free. So we're going to use... We're going to use clips here. We're going to clip this here. That way it stays. And clip that one there. Clip that one there, and then clip that one there. Now let's see. Let's see what it says. Okay, so now what it looks like we're gonna do is we're gonna actually, can you guys see? Awesome! I live in the wheat fields. I live in an RV park in the wheat fields, ma'am. I totally know where the wheat fields is. That is oh my gosh, this is crazy. That's where you lived at? Oh my gosh, how cool is that? Small world, very small world. So like I said, I'm in a fifth wheel, guys. As you can see, I have a bed that lowers and raises down below me. So I think when Miss Carrie joins, Miss Carrie yesterday asked me about sewing space in my fifth wheel. So I told her when she hops on to remind me, and we'll do a walk around of my my toy hauler. So okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna sew up the seam, and then we're gonna sew across, but we're gonna leave an opening here. We're gonna leave an opening. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put, what I like to do is I grab, so I use clips. That's where you live. That is so awesome. So I use clips. We're going to put a clip here. We're going to put a clip here. So we're going to leave that opening. That way we can turn it inside out. This way we can turn. This is turning out to be fairly easy, guys. This is turning out to be fairly easy. So we're going to leave that opening open, sew it across there, sew down, and then across. So let's go ahead and go sew this. And again, the stitch that we're using is a 1/4 inch seam on these, on the stitching on here. So let's go ahead and get this one stitched up. And I'm using like I said, I'm using a 1/4 inch seam on here. So, okay, here we go. So we're gonna start this way. So we're gonna come down this way. Turn it this way. We're going to make sure and leave an opening on this end here. We want to make sure we leave an opening here. All right. So we're going to go, whoops. We're going to go here. Okay, stop there. We're going to cut that off right there. Move it down a little bit. And so we want to leave a big enough opening there. That way when we turn it, I'm going to go ahead and sew. Do I sew down that edge? You know what? I'm going to sew down this edge too. It doesn't say sew down this edge, but we're going to sew down this edge. That way it keeps the stabilizer on that side down. Not going to hurt anything. Okay. So now we'll go back here. Said thread catcher, guys, making a thread catcher. All right, so now we've got this. So now what it says, and I think we're going to add corners here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pull it this way because it wants us to add corners. I think it's just fold your ends like shown below, mark 1/2 inch up on each corner tip and sew along the line. I think we only want to do, well, I don't know. Because if I do that, well, yeah. Okay. Good morning. I was strolling and had to stop. Ow. Thank you. Is that not fun? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you stopping by. So the piece under my presser foot, it's a start and stop. I took a quilting class years and years ago at a quilting retreat that I used to run the retreats. I work in IT, so I'd ran the IT side of things. And quilting lady, I asked her the same question. I'm like, why do you have these small pieces of fabric that you start and stop with? Well, the start and stop actually gives you a better stitch when you're like sewing pieces together or something like that. It gives you that stitch that stitches all the way out to the end, and you don't have that start, because you know when you start the machine and it like tries to tie a knot or whatever, and then it ends up coming apart. It keeps those pieces from coming apart better. So I've always used the start and stop, and I don't know, it seems quicker to me, and I don't use as much thread, because you know how when you stop, you end up having the extra thread that you cut off or start with. You don't have all those extra pieces. So just an idea. So okay, yeah, I didn't either. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this apart here. Come on. But it's a good trick. You're very welcome. You are very welcome. So we're gonna pull this apart. It says we're gonna add a corner to these. We're gonna add a corner on here. To add a corner, what you do is you take, and we did this the other day on a project we were working on. So what you do is you just take and you go like a 1/2 inch up and you sew across there. I call that a security blanket. That works too. That totally works too. So what we're going to do is we're going to go about a 1/2 inch up, and we're going to sew across, and then we're going to cut the corners off. So we're going to go ahead and go over to the sewing machine, and we're going to do all these corners. That way we have a corner. It gives it a corner when we're sewing that. So because we have the bottom of the bag here, and then this is the lining. So this lining is actually going to shove up into that bag. So we need a corner on each one of these. We need a corner on each one of these. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's go back over here. We're going to get these corners going. And again, if you're just joining, we are making a thread catcher here. And after we get the thread catcher made, this is kind of fun, guys. Thanks for following along. I really appreciate it. Once we get the thread catcher made, we're going to move on to a fun quilt square, because I want you all to learn how to make a fun quilt square. I'm going to try and show you guys a quilt square. I don't know if every day, but close. I'm going to see. We'll do a different one each time. So we'll do a different one each time. So like I said, so you have this piece, and then you're just going to pull it apart like this. That way it gives it that corner right there. And then we're just going to go up like a 1/2 inch. So we're going to go over here on here, and you want to do, I'm going to take that off so we can see. Sometimes I leave that off of there. So we're going to sew up the exact same spot. So we're going to go up, I'm going to go up to the 4, because you have numbers on your presser plate down there. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Robin. How are you from Michigan? MI's Michigan, right? Good morning from Arizona. Good morning from Arizona. So I'm going to go up to that 4 on each one of these sides. So we're going to sew across here. And I'm going to go over to the next corner from Dallas, Texas. Well, hello from Alicia from Dallas, Texas. I was born in Fort Worth, y'all. I was born in Fort Worth. I'm a Texan at heart. All right, so here is that other corner. We're going to do this on all 4 corners here. So we say we're going to go up to that 4. You can easily measure these if you wanted to. I don't ever measure because I'm not a... You were born in Dallas. Awesome! Good morning from Connecticut. Yeehaw, right? Yeah, exactly. It's funny. I have to tell you a story here. So you have the bag like this. So you're going to turn it sideways and pull it apart. You're going to pull it apart. We've been working on your butterfly quilt this week. Awesome. 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 So you're going to pull it apart like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sew like a 1/4 inch or like a 1/2 inch down. So you pick a spot. I mean, you can measure that 1/2 inch or inch down. You just want to make sure you have it the same on each one. Or you can take and measure on your presser plate and just take the tip of your fabric right here and make sure it's at the exact same spot. That way when you're sewing across, you're actually sewing across at the same spot. So let's go ahead and sew these other 2 corners, and then we'll go back to the cutting table and I'll show you. So like I said, we're going up to that 4 there. And then cut that one. And we'll go ahead and go do this other corner here. started doing these corners when I made bags. I went on a binge of making bags. It's funny. I do that sometimes. Like, oh, I'll start making that, and then I'm like, oh, I like that. Let's do that. So, all right. We'll go back to the cutting table. So this is, I'll show you here. We are making a, whoops, hold on. My thread didn't cut. We are making a thread catcher. So let me show you. Flip the camera. So we're making this thread catcher. This is a free pattern. I went and Googled and found a free pattern. Used to live down in Fort Bliss back in the 70s. Very cool. Well, thank your family for their service. I was stationed, when I was in the military, I was actually stationed in San Antonio, which is cool. I love the Riverwalk in San Antonio. It's a cool place if you haven't ever been to the Riverwalk. Okay. So we have these corners that we just sewed. We need to cut those off. Just be careful you don't cut too close to that seam because you don't want to cut that seam off. So we're going to just clip those corners off that you just sewed. And clip these corners off right here. Clip that corner off. There we go. Thanks for the share. Been there too, right? It's a fun place to go and gorgeous. I love all the green. I'm in Arizona. It's not too green here. It's kind of brown, but it's okay. There's some gorgeous places here too. So, and I think what we're going to do now is we're going to turn this inside out. So this is the easiest way that I find turning it inside out. So you take the opening that you have, and I put your thumb in there, and then go all the way over to that opposite edge. Go all the way over to that opposite edge, and you're going to grab that edge, and you're going to push it through with your finger, and then push it through right there where your thumb's at. And then you take, and you're going to pull it over like this. So once you get it all pulled over, you're going to flip out those seams there. And then you're going to go to the other side and then push out those seams. And see, that's the corner that you guys just made. You guys, we made. How about we made? We made this corner. We made the corner. So then what we're going to do is we're going to push this in. Push that in like that. So then that makes a corner. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that topping out because I kind of like, let's see if we get it down. I think we're going to have to go down. I was going to say I was going to leave that out, but that won't work out very well because the inside of the bag won't go all the way down. Okay. So there we have our bag. So now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to sew around to stabilize that. So we're going to do a stitch that goes all the way around that to get that to stay there. We'll do a stitch that goes all the way around that. And then we're going to go ahead and take this to the sewing machine too, because this is the top that we made. And y'all, I got beans in there and I kind of like the beans. So this is the top that you made. And then we're going to attach this to the bag. That way it ends up making that thread catcher, y'all. So here's the thread catcher that we were making. Like I said, I did a Google to see if I could find a pattern because y'all requested a thread catcher. So I did a Google. This is a free pattern. Check her out. She's got some cool patterns there. So I figured, you know what? Hey, let's help our fellow seamstresses out. Seamstress, quilters. I'm not a seamstress. I am far from a seamstress. I don't make clothes. So, which is funny. I just had a lady the other day. She went and delivered. She delivered my groceries to me, and she goes, "Oh, you sew?" Because I gave her a microwave bowl koozie just as a gift. I like to give gifts. And she goes, "Oh, you sew? Would you mind hemming my pants?" I'm like, "I'm not a seamstress. No, I'm not a seamstress. Not happening." So, but thank you for the follows. Oh, I tried. Thanks. Y'all, I give more than I sell. So I like making people happy. I'm a people pleaser. So, okay. So now we have our bag made. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch her. Thank you. Good morning. He's just the cutest thing. So we're going to take and we're going to stitch around the top of this. That way it makes it a little stiffer on top. So let's go ahead and stitch around that. Let's see if we can find a fun stitch to put on here. Decorative stitch. You got to have some fun with these sometimes. Let's see. We got to have something fun. Where's something fun? To doom. Let's see what that one. I used to have one that was like, that I like to do that was like hearts. But I can't ever find that heart one anymore. I'm like, well, fun. Let's see, hold on. I'm going to grab a piece of fabric. We're going to see what that one's like. That works. Okay, so we need, let's do a different color fabric. We're gonna do a darker fabric on the inside so we can actually see that fun stitch. We're gonna use brown because we have brown on the outside. See, I like to have fun and add other fun stuff to it, so. Okay, so we're gonna take and so we're going to start this, and when you're doing a decorative stitch, just make sure that you don't pull that fabric. Just let the machine pull the fabric, because if you pull the fabric or push the fabric, it's going to change that that design, that decorative design there. So we're going to let these go. Off. Let's see what it looks like, guys. Let's see what it looks like. Okay. So we added, can you see? Let's see. Flowers. Anyways, I don't know if you can see it. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for the follows, guys. Okay. So we now have our little bag. But we need to have the holder here. So we're going to do, so you're going to take and center it on the back side of here. We go back to utility. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew a square around it, and then we're going to go across. We're going to take across that, give it that just that much more stability on there. So just that much more stability on there. So thank you guys for the shares, and I thank you for the follows. You guys are awesome this morning. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out. When we get done making this, I'm going to show y'all how to make a fun quilt square. I'm going to show you guys how to make a fun quilt square. So we're going to make sure you don't sew the other side of that bag. I'm going to turn that speed down a little bit so I don't end up going too far here. I want to make sure I have it. That'd be a real bummer if I ended up sewing the one side of the bag together to the other side of the bag. And turn it this way. And turn it this way, and then we're going to come across the top. So then she said go, so we're going to go make a X on here. So we're going to go corner to corner. Come back up this side and then go down to the other corner. So just make sure that you don't have the other side of the bag when you're sewing this on there. Okay. So let's see if this works. We're going to see if this works. Threndier made a thread catcher and she added a plastic strip along the top to keep it open. Oh, nice. Okay, guys. Are we ready? Are we ready to see what we made? Check it out, guys. It works. It works. It works, guys. How cool is that? And I think I'm going to add it. So I have embroidery machines over here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it, I'll figure out where to put it over there. That way, right? Is that not cool? It turned out really cool. Turned out cool. Came in too light to live. I will be reposting. I'll be reposting. So I think that is cool. So now we have that. So let's do this. I'm going to put you right there. I'm going to put it right there. Why not? So now y'all want to learn how to make another quilt square? You want to learn how to make another quilt square? Because like yesterday, so yesterday I showed you guys how to make, let me grab. So yesterday we made bowl covers. We made bowl covers. So, and this one right here is an actual quilt square. So this is the quilt square that I showed y'all how to make yesterday. I showed y'all how to make it yesterday. So I have another quilt square. I have another quilt square. You guys are going to be excited. So I got some fun fabric. I got some fun fabric to try. So we had fun with flannel yesterday. And I like to mix my types of fabric. It doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't hurt anything. So we're going to have some fun with that. And we're going to make a few. So we have a purple one. Let's do a purple one. Let's see what other colors we have in here. We have, there's a yellow, because I think there's yellow in there. Tell you, this is some fun flannel. I may have to go back and get another one of these flannels here. There's a green. There's a green. I think we'll do 4 of them. We're going to do 4 of these. I think there's a blue. There's a blue. Okay. So we're going to do 4 different ones of these. That way you guys can see how to do these and how it turns out when you actually piece them together. So thank you for the follow. Thanks for the follow. So what we're going to do is, and so these are 10-inch squares. So these are 10-inch squares. So what you need is you need one piece of fabric that's just like a solid print. And then you need a piece of fabric that is like a print. That's going to be like, give it that, I don't know, what do you call it? Bling bling? We're going to say bling bling. I'm going to call it bling bling. How about that? We're going to call it bling bling. So now what we're going to do is you're going to take the one square, you're going to lay the other square on it. The bigger ones are a little bit bigger than 10-inch, but it's okay. It's okay. Because what we're going to do, it's going to freak you guys out. You ready? We're going to actually sew all the way around it. You're going to close it up. We're going to close that square up. So we're going to actually sew all 4 sides of this. So let's go back and sew all 4 sides of this. I promise you it works. I promise you. So we're going to go back and we'll do this a few times so you can get it. We'll do it a few times so you can get it. So you take 2 10-inch squares. on here. So like I said, we got 2 10-inch squares, and you are going to sew all 4 sides of it up. We're going to close that up. We're going to close it up. So we're going to come back here. So we're going to sew all the way across. Turn it. I'm going to sew up this side. Like I said, we're going to sew all 4 sides up. We're going to sew all 4 sides up. This is the coolest square to make. It is a really cool square to make. And then turn here, and we're going to sew that final side up. We're going to sew up that final side here. And there's 2 different things that you can do on this one. There's 2 different things you can do. You can actually do 2 different squares. And I'll show you guys both squares. We're going to start out with the one, though, because I like this one. This one's kind of fun. This one is fun. So I'm going to go there like this. Okay. So now you've sewed this square together. All 4 sides. You're like, what are we going to do here? This is where it gets fun. This is where it gets fun. So you're going to take that square that you just sewed together. You're going to take your ruler. You're going to take your ruler. You're going to go corner to corner on here, and you're going to take a pin. You're going to take a pin and draw a line across that corner. You're going to go across that corner, draw that line there. Now you're going to turn it and draw a line across there. You're going to draw a line across this corner here. Because you're only going to be cutting one piece of fabric here. You don't want to cut both pieces of fabric. So this is where it gets fun. You guys ready for this? So now you have those lines. So what you're going to do is you're going to actually cut, but you need to pull it apart. You got to pull it apart. So you're going to pull this apart. So you have this fabric up here and you have this fabric up here. So what you're going to do is make sure that you only have that top fabric. And I'm going to cut the solid fabric. I'm not cutting the printed fabric. I'm going to cut the solid fabric. You can do either one, whichever way you want this square to turn out. So what I do is I take and I line up those 2 right there, and I get it started. So I give it a cut right there. So you have a cut there. So now what you're going to do is you're going to cut all the way down that line, all the way to the edge, but don't cut the seam. So you're going to cut all the way to the edge here. Let me turn my iron on here. So you're going to cut all the way to the edge. Like I said, don't cut the seam though. And you're going to go to all 4 sides and cut those lines. We're going to cut the line on all 4 sides here. Get it cut all the way to the end. Just not, so we're cutting all the way there, but not the seam. Not the seam. So we're going to go this one here. And then go here. Oh, we got a puzzle piece. Hold on. Let me do that puzzle piece. Well, that looks like Moab. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to take this one here. Good morning, Nikki. Good morning. Thanks for the follows, y'all. So now I'm going to take this one, go all the way up to this corner. Like I said, we're going to do this again. We'll do this again a couple times so you guys can see. We're going to go all the way up to that corner. And like I said, you're going to go all the way up to the corner, but don't cut that seam. Don't cut that seam. Okay. Here's the fun surprise. Here is the fun surprise. So we just sewed 2 10-inch squares together. We're like, what is this going to turn out like? Here is the fun part, guys. This is where it turns into fun. You're like, oh my gosh, I literally just created a quilt square. So we're going to press these down. We're going to turn this one. We're going to press that one down. We're going to turn it here. We're going to press this one down. And this makes a fairly good size square. I can't remember the size. But we got to cut those corners off too. So we'll go cut those corners too. Y'all check this out. Is that not the funnest? How fun is that? And how easy is that? It is seriously easy. That is an easy quilt square. So you take your cutting mat. Yeah, super easy. Super, super easy. So now we're going to take our cutting mat and we're going to take and cut off the edges, because you have little pieces that have off on the edge there. So we'll cut those off. And we'll do 4 of these. We'll do 4 of these. That way you can see what it looks like pieced together. You can see what it looks like pieced together, because it's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Okay. So there we go. Is that not cool? That is very cool. It is a fun quilt square. Let's go ahead and do another one. Let's go ahead and do another one. So like I said, what we did, because I have 4 different colors we're going to do on here. 4 different colors. Thanks for the follow. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take another piece here. And I cut, well, let's see if I can get it over here and away from that edge. I think we'll be okay. My bottom square is a little bit bigger than my top square, luckily. So now what do? You take 2 tin. Good morning, Miss Debbie. Miss Debbie is the one that gave me this shirt. Thank you for the shirt, Miss Debbie. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for the follows, y'all. So we're taking 2 10-inch squares. On those 10-inch squares, we are going to sew all the way around that. We're going to sew all 4 sides, y'all. So let's go sew all 4 sides on this one. We'll go sew all 4 sides. And I think what we'll do, let's go ahead and do, we're going to sew around all 4 sides on all of these, because I want you guys to see. So we have a green. We're going to take green. And you want to do right sides together on here, y'all. Make sure right sides are together. So we have a blue, a purple, a green. So we're gonna do all 4 of these. So we'll do all 3 of these here, because we already sewed the one. Because it turns out there. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So the printed fabric, I bought at a quilt shop in, where did I get it? I think I got this fabric in Montana. So you could actually probably take a picture of it and Google it. You could probably find it. So you would probably be able to find it if you took a picture of it. So maybe do a screenshot or something and then throw that picture in Google. You'd probably be able to find that fabric possibly. So I can't remember what the printed fabric is. I can't remember what it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go sew around all of these right quick. And that way you guys will see that one. So I need to drink coffee. You guys drinking coffee this morning? Calico cotton. It would make an awesome tote print. Yeah, it would, right? I'm sorry it's repeating for you. I apologize. Cancel. The name of the fabric is on the edges. Well, hold on. Let me look. I will tell you. I never paid attention. So, because I have more fabric. So let's see. It says it's on the edges. So it is. So it says 2007 Brother Sister Design Studio. So like I said, I've had it for a while. So I'm going through my stash. So there is the name of it. If you guys want to take a screenshot of it, you possibly might be able to find some. Said I got it at a quilt shop a few years ago. So you might be able to find it. Hobby Lobby. Oh, yeah. I have to go look because I got a thing from Hobby Lobby the other day, y'all. I don't know if y'all got it or not, but I got a thing from Hobby Lobby. It says Hobby Lobby Joann's. So I don't know if that just means that they bought out the Joann's thing or what, but Okay, so we are going to go ahead and remember we're sewing all 4 sides. We're going to sew all 4 sides together on these. 1/4 inch seam on these. We're going to sew around all 4 of these. That way we can I didn't mean to go off the edge. Didn't mean to go off the edge there, but that's okay. Turn it. Sometimes Hobby Lobby and Michael's. Very cool. Very cool. I'm going to have to go. I have not been to Hobby Lobby in a long time, so I may have to go check out Hobby Lobby. My words to me is down. Oh, that's funny. There's the name right there on this piece of fabric. Ha! See, I learn something new every day. Thank you, guys. But it's fun fabric. Very cool. You're from KCKS. I don't know where that is. Kansas City? So the squares are 10-inch squares. These are 10-inch squares. And you can use any size to make this pattern, but these are 10-inch squares on here. One more. So we're gonna get 4 of them done, and we're gonna sew all 4 of those together. That way y'all can see what it looks like all sewed together. Get that one. Write this down. Okay. Last one here. And we'll go back and I'll show you guys again how to turn that one. I think it's going to be fun to see what this turns out like. Turn that one. One more side. I said my bottom square was a little bit bigger than my top square, so that worked out okay. Worked out okay. Okay. Yes, I'm over. So I come on at 4:30 in the morning, Arizona time. Thanks for the follows, guys. Thanks for the follows. So I am on 4:30 in the morning, Arizona time. Good morning, Miss Lisa. Good morning. Are you enjoying your days off? Hopefully you're not working too hard there. So now we're going to take, so we've sewed these 10-inch squares together, completely together. And you guys think, how do we do this? So we're going to turn those 10-inch, crazy busy, Miss Lisa. So we're going to turn those 2 10-inch squares into this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take, right? Is it not cool? So now we're going to take that ruler with these two 10-inch squares, and you're going to go corner right there on the corner to corner where your corner is where you just stitched. You're going to take a pen, a marker, and we're going to go across here. Now you're going to turn this the other way and sew right across there too. You said you're going to go corner to corner. So now that you've gone corner to corner, you're going to take and grab this piece of fabric. This is kind of hard. You're going to grab this piece of fabric. You're going to try and pull the two pieces of fabric apart. Okay, so you see how this one's pulled over here and this one's pulled over here. Now you're going to take where you drew those lines. You're going to take where you drew those lines right there like that. You kind of line those two up. You got those two lined up, and you're going to take your scissors and just cut just a little bit, just enough for you to get in the opening there with your scissors. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take those scissors, put it in that hole you just did, and you're going to cut all the way across those lines. Cut all the way across those lines, all the way to the edge. Don't cut past that seam though. You don't want to cut past that seam, so you're going to cut all the way to right there, but not the seam, not the seam. And then we're going to do that on all four sides. We're going to do this on all four sides here. All the way to the edge there. There we go. All the way to the edge. Okay, one more side. Like I said, we're going to do 4 of these. So I did 4 different colors of fabric here. That way each one kind of looks differently. And then when we get them all sewed together, you'll see. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Woo! Excuse me. Then we there. So we are making, so we had fun. These fun squares. We are making these fun squares. Thank you, Miss Debbie. We did the thread catcher earlier. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you. So then, now we have the yellow one. We have the yellow one there. So this iron is a Panasonic cordless. It's a Panasonic cordless. I love this thing. It is the coolest thing. So we're going to go ahead and do, so we have 2 more here. Like I said, you have 2 10-inch squares, the 2 10-inch squares, and you're sewed all the way around those. Now we're going to take, on those 2 10-inch squares, you're going to take your ruler. So you take your ruler and you go corner to corner where you just stitch and put that ruler on those corners. Then you take your pen. I use like a marker, just a fine tip marker here. And you draw a line on the back side here. And then you kind of turn it and then draw a line on this one, corner to corner here. Corner to corner. Draw a line there. We got 2 more to do here. 2 more to do. Thanks for the follow. So we've now drawn a line. So 2 10-inch squares stitched all the way around. You've drawn a line and an X there. Now you're going to take and you're going to grab, this is the tricky part. You're going to grab the piece of fabric. You're going to pull it apart. So you're going to got to pull it. So you make sure that you have this fabric over here and this fabric over here. So now we go over here. Thanks for the follows, y'all. I appreciate all the follows. You guys are awesome. So now that we've had those pulled apart, you find that line. You kind of line those 2 up right there. And you grab your set of scissors and you cut just a little bit. You just want to cut a little bit. You don't want to cut too much. Just enough to get your pair of scissors in. So then you take your pair of scissors and you put in that hole that you just cut. And you didn't cut the back. You're only cutting the front there. So we're going to take and cut down this line all the way to the edge. But you don't want to cut your stitch. So you're going to go, like I said, you're going to go all the way to the edge there, but yet don't cut that stitch. So we're going to go ahead and cut all 4 of these here. All the way to that edge. This is just a fun quilt square, and fun, easy, quick quilt square. You know, it's one of those where, you know, somebody calls and says, hey, I need a quilt. Okay. They're like, I need it next week. And you're like, next week, I'm not sure I can do next week. You can do next week. You can do next week. So you can do this quilt. This quilt you could literally make in a day, y'all. You can literally make this quilt in a day. And y'all, I believe tomorrow, we're going to be quilting. Maybe we'll quilt this tomorrow. How about we quilt this tomorrow? I will show you how to quilt in the hoop on this quilt panel that we're making today. How fun is that? Why not, right? Why not? That would be fun. That way it all goes together. So tomorrow is quilting day. Tomorrow's quilting in the hoop day. So I will do instructions on how to quilt in the hoop. So we will do that tomorrow. And we will just quilt this panel. We will quilt this panel. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for the follows, y'all. All right. So we're going to turn these corners. Once we get all these pressed and cut, we'll have to trim off the edges. You have to just do a little bit of trimming. It's not bad, though. It's not bad on there. So we're going to press this out. And the colors, each did colors. So we did different colors on each one, and it's making a different color pop. You see how that one brings out that green and makes that green pop? This one, look at this one. This one makes the yellow pop. You see that yellow pop out of there with that one? This one, check this out, kind of makes that blue pop. It's like each one is a different color, makes it pop just a little bit differently on there. So we have one more. So we got one more here. Like I said, 2 10-inch squares, right sides together. 2 10-inch squares, right sides together. Take that ruler. You're going to go edge to edge on each corner where you just stitched on each of those edges. Take that pretty much fine tip. Fine tip. Yeah, easy to sew. You know, I'm all for easy. I like to give those projects that you can get done in one day. Okay, we can do this one for Tony, Miss Amy. Totally, we can do this one for Tony. Because you like the red flannel, the red checkered flannel, right? So this would be cool here. So now we'll draw that X there. So like I said, 2 10-inch squares. Thanks for the follow. Tell me what fabric you like, Miss Amy. Tell me what fabric you like. I do take orders. I do take orders. So there is that, that X there. So then we just shoot me a message on what you're looking for. Okay, absolutely. See if you can find some fabric that you like, and we can totally make it. We can totally make it. So you have the X there. So what you're going to do, this is the trick. You're going to take this fabric, you're pulling it apart. So you have the 2 10-inch squares sewed together. You pull this apart, and then right there where you have drawn that X, make sure you don't have that the back side of your fabric. So you have this together, and what you're going to do is you're going to just snip that just a little bit. You don't want to go too far. New quilter, I love. Awesome, glad. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to clip this there. So with that clipping, you just want to just a little bit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut all the way to the edge. And when you go all the way to the edge, you said you want to go all the way to the edge, but look, you don't want to, so you're going to snip right to there. You don't want to snip the what do you call it? The seam. If you snip the seam, then it's going to come out. So we're going to go here. We're going to cut the rest of these all the way to the edge to the seam. Turn this one. Thanks for the follows, y'all. Thanks for the follows. You guys are awesome. So we're going to go all the way here to this one. There's that one. And then here is this one. If anybody's looking for a class, let me know. We can plan a class. I mean, we could totally do a class on this. This is a fun one. This is a fun one. So then we take this. He said, this one's the purple. I love purple. Who doesn't love purple, y'all? So we're going to take this one, press this one out. Then we're going to go this one, Thanks for the follows, y'all. You are awesome. So we're going to press this one. This is going to bring the purple out. Like I said, each one gives a different, brings out a different color. That's what this fun fabric, y'all. I'm with y'all. I'm going to have to go find some more fun fabric, more of this fabric, because I only had a yard of this fabric. So being I only had a yard is like, yeah, I think I need some more of that. I think I need some more of that. Okay. So now check that out, y'all. Oh my gosh. So now we got to get the cutter back up here, because on the edge of these, when you fold it out, you have a little bit of there. So you got to, doesn't the purple look good? You got to trim those off. If you don't trim those off when you sew them together, it puts too big of a bunch there. It puts too big of a bunch. Just finishing my first puff quilt for my granddaughter. Awesome! I did a puff quilt. That was hard. That one was a little hard for doing, so behooves to you. Behooves to you. I did one and I'm like, I'm not sure I'm going to do another one on those. Yeah, I'm loving the purple too. I love the purple. It's definitely challenging. Definitely, I'm with you. Definitely challenging. Definitely a challenge. Okay, so there's that one. They said we're going to cut all these off. We're going to make it, we're going to sew all 4 of these together. Once we sew all 4 of these together, we're going to look at it and see, because I think we'll quilt this tomorrow. I think we'll quilt this tomorrow. Thanks for the shares. So we're going to go there. Okay. So y'all, these turn out so cool. So cool. Okay. So there's that one. Let's go ahead. That one was already trimmed. This is the first one we made. So then we'll take and trim these 2. We'll get these all trimmed, and then we'll sew them together. And like I said, tomorrow, we're going to quilt this tomorrow, guys. We're going to quilt this tomorrow. Why not, right? Why not? Okay, so let's go this one. So these were, if you're just joining, these were 2 10-inch squares sewn together, right sides together, and you sew the whole thing together. They said, we'll go over this again. We'll do another live on this, so that way, just in case. I will post it on my YT page. Y'all want me posted on my YT page, so I was gonna post it on here, but you can only post so long of a video. You can only post so long of a video, so. All right, so here we go. One more. Like I said, you have those edges. So bowl holder, not today. So today was the thread, what do you call it? Thread catcher. Today was the thread catcher. Today was the thread catcher. And what I'm trying to do is make it where when we do a live of a project, I give you a different square to make if we have time after I make the other project. So why not? These are fun, right? So we're gonna cut these off. And there's another square that you can make by sewing 2 10-inch squares together. We'll do that one day. We'll do that one. We'll have fun with that one. Turn this one. Turn that one. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually sew these together to see what this turns out like. So we're going to go over to the sewing machine because we're going to make it more or less a 4 blocks. We'll do all 4 blocks together and we're going to see what that turns out like, because I'm kind of excited to see how the different colors come together. See how the different colors come together. Thank you, Miss Lisa. Miss Debbie got me this shirt. Isn't that the coolest? I'm okay. I promise I'm okay. I'm drowning in my fabric. How fun is that, right? Isn't this fun, Renee? I mean, you gotta love to sew. You love sewing, but sometimes it's like, I need something quick. I need something quick I can make. So, being you need something quick. This is a quick and easy one. This is a quick and easy one. So what we're going to do is we're going to sandwich right sides together. We're going to line this up. We're just going to do a 1/4 inch seam across there. So we're just going to do a 1/4 inch seam across this. Right, Lisa? Hot flash, hot flash. Woo. Okay. I'm going to sew these two together. So we have two of them. Just got into sewing by the way of paper piecing. Now I'm like, oh, absolutely, absolutely. Come hang out. So the little piece, it just gives you a start and a stop. That start and stop makes, so, because have you ever noticed when you're sewing and you start and stop at the edge and then sometimes it comes apart? That start and stop kind of helps it from doing that. So it just, so a trick I learned years and years ago at a quilting retreat from a lady that was quilting. So I've used it ever since, and it seems to help. It seems to help on there. So. I do have a YT page. If you guys, thank you for the follows, y'all. Thanks for the follows. If you guys click the link in my bio, you will see my YT page and my FB page and my website. So, thank you. I appreciate you. Because I posted yesterday we did bowl covers yesterday. So I posted that on there. So thank you. Thanks for all the follows, y'all. Y'all are awesome. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take and sandwich these two together. Awesome. Welcome to my live, y'all. Y'all are awesome. You want to learn to sew but don't have a machine? Check out FB Marketplace. A lot of times people are giving machines away, or even, you know, 20, 30 bucks. So check your yard sales. See if you can find one. I wish you were closer to me. If you were closer to me, I'd hook you up. I have a Brother Luminaire too. I love Brother. Brothers are a good machine. It's a fairly cheap machine to use. They have some, you're in Georgia. My boys were born in Georgia. I was there for 3 years. My husband was stationed there. So, but yeah, check your FB Marketplace. You can get a lot of them there, or yard sales. Oh, nice. Oh, very cool. Yeah, check out your pages. Janome is also a good brand too. All of them are good brands. I mean, if whatever you can get, you know, there's not really a bad one out there, I don't think. So what I did on this one, just so you know, I lined up those center seams. I lined up that center seams on there. That way it's kind of centered. So hopefully. We're going to put a clip right there. Whoever created clips was a genius. I don't get poked my finger as much as I used to, so. Okay, now we're gonna go see what this looks like. I'm kind of curious. Oh, that would be cool. I didn't realize libraries rent them. That's kind of cool. Oh, how cool is that? Okay, let me show you guys. I'm gonna show you guys my machines before we go here. So I have, I just actually picked this one off of Marketplace. So it's a Quattro 2, another embroidery machine. I have the Husqvarna Topaz 50. That's another Marketplace find that I found. This one my husband got. He actually sews too. Luminaire 2 is one that I use. And then just, this one is just a stitcher. But y'all, if you're looking for a step down from an industrial one, that one sews through 16 layers of fabric. It's crazy. how much that one does. So if you want to know why they're so close, I live in a fifth wheel. The toy hauler is my sewing section. The toy hauler is my sewing section. So needless to say. Okay. So we're going to turn this iron back on because we're going to press this. We're going to press this there. But let's see what we just sewed. Let's see what we just sewed. Oh my gosh, look at that, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm in love. I am in love. Is that not gorgeous? Oh my gosh, how gorgeous is that? Thank you. Is it not fun? Is that not fun? How cool is this? And how quick did we just sew this together? That was quick. Very cool. Hey, exactly. I'm telling you, Marketplace is the word to get it. So let's go ahead and press these. I'm going to press the seam. I'm going to press the seams open. Everybody does it a little differently. So I'm going to press these seams open. And like I said, tomorrow we're going to be quilting these. Tomorrow we will quilt these. Oh, once you get sewing, you get a little less intimidated. Once you get sewing, you'll be okay. Just start small. Start with a small machine, and then you'll be able to go. Well, I thought I was. Let's just turn this over. We're gonna not press them open. We're just gonna do it this way. One step at a time, right, Jen? Exactly. One step at a time. Good morning. How are you? Good morning. Isn't this a fun? And y'all, we literally just did this in what? Maybe 30 minutes? Maybe 30 minutes. Yeah. You know, sometimes people are selling them on there. Their family member has passed away and they don't sew, so they're just getting rid of them, or they just need to downsize. What? 4:30, ma'am. 4:30 Arizona town. I think it's Mountain Standard Time right now. We don't have daylight savings time, so I have my schedule posted on my page too. So tomorrow we're going to be quilting. So we're gonna quilt this tomorrow, y'all. We're gonna quilt this tomorrow. So we'll quilt this tomorrow, and then on Thursday we're gonna do binding. I'm gonna show y'all how to bind. I do the easiest binding. If you're ever scared about binding, I can make it where you guys are not as scared on binding, I promise. I kind of showed binding last week, and this week we're going to do it again. I want you guys to be able to bind. So tomorrow we will be quilting in the hoop, y'all. If you have a quilting machine, an embroidery machine, I will show you. I don't care if you have a 4x4 hoop. Pacific time. Okay, thank you. I don't care if you have a 4x4 hoop or all the way up to those big hoops. You can quilt no matter what size of hoop you have. So we will be quilting in the hoop. If any of y'all want me to, at some point, we can do a live on Mirandering too, because I do Miranda quilts. So we can do that too. 6:30 Oklahoma time. So it is about 6:15 here right now. So if that gives you guys a kind of a idea. So like I said, tomorrow we will quilt this quilt. I'm almost thinking we use a variegated thread on this, guys. I'm almost thinking we have some fun with a variegated thread. I don't know. You know what? What if we did this? What about that one, guys? What about that? Shall we have fun? So this one is actually a variegated thread. We could quilt it with that. There's all kinds of different colors in this thing. You don't want to do just a single color, I don't think. Pop of color, right? Okay. All right. I think we will do that. We're going to do that tomorrow. Oh, don't do that. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of fun. You're freezing in a sweatsuit right now. Are you serious? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is. I'm like sweating here. So I'll be going outside here in a few in my shorts. 56. Wow. I don't know what, Lisa, what's the temperature here right now? Hold on. I don't know what temperature is here. Hold on. Let me see what temperature is. Weather. 72 degrees here right now. It's 63 at your place. Yeah, it was a little cooler when I went to Payson yesterday. Hot. It's hot, Nikki. 68 in Georgia. 68 in Georgia. Fun. 45 in Ohio. Wow, it's starting to cool off everywhere, isn't it? I'm wearing a hoodie sitting under my blanket in the 50s. Get those quilts out, y'all. Get those quilts out. Anybody needs a quilt, wants to order a specialized quilt, give me a holler. Give me a holler. We can do a specialized quilt. I'm going to be making finally a cool off. Yeah, it's finally cooling off. I'm glad. So I actually went to the lake this weekend. The temperature of water at the lake, y'all, is probably around 80 degrees. So kind of warm, next week, we're going to have fun making, we're going to make this quilt next week. So I have all of these fun pieces, and I think we're going to make this quilt next week. 60s in Louisiana, high at 87. Wow, nice. So this quilt right here is what we'll make next week. You make quilts for everyone else, for myself, right? So yeah, so next week we're going to be having fun with this. We're going to be having some fun with this next week. So that's the plan. That is the plan, right? So fun. So let's show the thread catcher. So yes, I did make yours, Miss Amy. I love yours is one of my favorites, Miss Amy. Yours is one of my favorites I've made. So we got this thread catcher made today. Did that not turn out cool? It turned out really cool. Turned out really cool. And here, we will show, flip that camera. So check that out. Did that not turn out cool? And y'all, I used beans. I used beans in there. And just as a reminder, this is where I got the pattern for the thread catcher. Like I said, I went and Googled. Y'all requested me to do a thread catcher, so I had to go Googling. So I found this pattern. It was a free pattern. Give her a Google for the thread catcher. Easy pattern. It was an easy pattern. So I want to make sure that she gets credit for her pattern. So was not my pattern. So, but it turned out really cute. And isn't it? Love the fabric. Love the fabric. And it ended up with a box end. We ended up with a box end on that bag. So turned out really cute. Turned out really cute, y'all. So tomorrow, we have about 10 more minutes on the live. Yesterday, we made bowl covers. The bowl covers are cute. Yeah, the thread. Oh yeah, absolutely. So like I said, we did bowl covers yesterday. Here, I'll show you a few of them here. I got them all stowed in here. This one was done with, I did this one, made this one. I need something like that for my wrapping table. Oh yeah, absolutely. So this one was made with a hand towel. I think that one's kind of funny. So this goes on my KitchenAid bowl here. So this one went on my KitchenAid bowl. So we had that one that went on there. And then we had this one. And these are reversible, guys. These were reversible. So, and they stitched out pretty easy. We may have to do these again. We might have to do these again. I think this is my favorite one, though. I think this one is my favorite one, bowl cover, that I made. So this is a little 7-inch bowl that we did. And this one, we did a quilt square yesterday. Is that not cute? What a cute bowl cover, right? You might as well have fun with them, because you can just do plain fabric, you know, but why not fun? Why not fun? So, right? But they are reversible. They are reversible. So you can do them that way too, because that's some fun fabric. So fun fabric on there. So then what else we got? So this week we have, what are we doing this rest of the week? The rest of this week we have, tomorrow we're quilting. We'll quilt this panel that we just made today. And then on Thursday we will bind it. We'll do a binding. Maybe I'll just use this as a wall hanging for my office. So we'll do binding on Thursday. You have a hard time with the lasket, Miss Robin? We'll do that page. We'll do that project again. We'll see. Thank you, Amy. You're a sweetheart. Thanks for the follows, y'all. Thanks for the follows. We'll do that project again. We'll do this a project again. That way, you know, kind of watch it again. And if you have questions, thank you. Good morning. Good morning. I love the little guy. He's just cute. So what we'll do, what do you use to print them on? I have a Brother Moda printer. I splurged and purchased a Brother Moda printer. So, I print my prints with the, cause like I said, so they print on fabric paper. You just get that fabric paper. And when you get the fabric paper, you print them, you run it. It's an inkjet printer. So if you have an inkjet printer, you know, but this one, the colors, I don't think you guys realize the colors, how vivid those colors is. I think Cynthia said the other day, because I had sent her a few, and the ones that I had sent her, she's like, oh my gosh, the colors are just, they pop. I'm telling you. So, but what you do is you print them on there because they come with a backing on it, and then you just pull the paper off. And when you pull the paper off, you have that color on there. And just wash them in cool water. When you wash them in cool water, the colors don't bleed. They don't bleed on there. So, but I'm excited to do a quilt with these. I'm almost thinking that we use the same pattern that we just did. I'll just have to use a smaller square. Maybe we'll do that. Oh my gosh. That's a genius idea. That is a genius idea. I think we might do that for the pattern next week. So, kind of fun. So, but I think it'll be fun. I've made a photo quilt using my printer. Would you guys like to see a quilt I did? So, let me show you. So, my mother passed away last year. I will call you after the live, Miss Lisa. I'll call you. So my mother passed away last year, and my therapy was to spend 2 weeks making a quilt out of her t-shirts. But I also put a picture of her and I'm turning you guys sideways, of her and I in the middle of this quilt. So that's my mom and me in the middle of this quilt. And then what I did is I took her t-shirts, you can even see the stains, and took her t-shirts and put all the way around this quilt. Put t-shirts all the way around. And you can see the quilting is little bees. And then I took and did an embroidery. So those are all the names she kind of went by. She was a grandma. My oldest granddaughter calls her Big Mama. I'll tell y'all the story about that one here in a minute. So those are all her shirts. It kind of folded over. I have it hanging on my window there. I have it hanging on memory. Yeah, right. And here's Miss Amy's favorite quilt. This is Miss Amy's favorite quilt. She loves this one. This one's fun. So this is this quilt was on my mom when she passed away at the hospital. So I kind of keep that quilt. So, and then my husband made this fun quilt. He actually quilted this quilt. So my husband made this quilt. That's a that one is a, what do you call it? An X block square. I'll have to show you guys that one. And then I've got quilts all over my place here. So, but makes it kind of fun. Makes it kind of fun. Yes, I love the memories too. Memories are good, right? Memories are good. So we're going to go here. I like memories too. So I'm excited for tomorrow, y'all. We're going to have some fun quilting this panel. What do you guys think? Some swirls? Do we want swirls on here? What do we want to quilt on here? I can literally quilt anything, y'all. What do we want to quilt? Do we want... Trying to think. What would be cool on here? So many different things, ideas on there. Thanks for the share, guys. Thanks for the share. And just as a reminder, I have my schedule. So I put up a weekly schedule on there. So I have my schedule on what we're going to be doing this week. So tomorrow we're going to be quilting in the hoop. I'm going to do instructions on quilting in the hoop. And then on Thursday, we will be doing binding. I'll show y'all how to do that binding. I know it can be very intimidating, but I promise you the binding turns out really cool. Let me show you guys. There we go. So I think we may have to do another one of these. So I did placemats. We had fun doing placemats. But if you look at the binding on here, you see how cool that binding turns out? And y'all, it is easy. I promise it's an easy. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely, Robin. My therapy, wow, I can't even talk. Therapy is definitely sewing. That one is definitely sewing. So I am a director of IT by day. So I have a stressful job sometimes. My job can be very stressful as a director of IT. So needless to say, my stress relief is in this room, So, and I've just joined you guys to my stress relief. So we have fun in the morning. We have fun sewing. And if y'all have requests, shoot me a request. We can make anything. Like I said, this morning, the thread catcher was a request for somebody. So I don't mind at all. I don't mind at all. And we have fun. We have lots of fun. I'm a mortgage loan officer. So sewing, quilting, I'm with you on there. I used to work at a bank. I worked at a bank years ago. Yes, come back and see me on Thursday for binding. Come back tomorrow and watch the quilting. Quilting is a lot of fun. Like I said, if you have an embroidery machine, I can show you how to quilt it with the embroidery machine. Anybody that doesn't have an embroidery machine, if y'all want to see mirandering, I can show y'all how to mirander a quilt too. So, good morning, Miss Jackie, my lovely daughter-in-law. But lots of fun, y'all. Lots of fun. I appreciate y'all very much hanging out. You're a retired CNA. Yeah. I worked as a CNA back in the day. Oh my gosh. Before my kids were born. I worked as a CNA. Thank you, Tanya, for the follow. So mirandering. Mirandering is, you take your fabric and you drop down the feed dog on your machine. And what you do is you just take and you just kind of move the machine all around. And what it does is it adds a mirandering stitch. Let me grab a quilt. I'll show you what the mirandering is on that quilt. So this quilt right here was mirandered. And I'll show you on here. So if you can see the stitching on here, I don't know if you can see the stitching or not, but what it does is the mirandering, it's literally just squiggly lines all around in there. So it makes it where you can actually, what time are you showing the binding? So Thursday morning, I will be on at 4:30 in the morning on Thursday. So, and I'll do a few different bindings. So I'll start out with a placemat. We'll start small. I will do, thanks, Lisa. I will start out small. We'll do the binding on the placemat. And then we will move up to the binding on the quilt that we're going to quilt tomorrow. We're going to quilt this panel that we made today. We'll quilt that panel that we made today. Yes, freeform quilting. Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you guys are wanting to see that, I can show you guys how to do that too. I love to mirander. I can sit and mirander all day long. It is lots of fun. Lots of fun. So tomorrow morning, come join. We will be quilting this tomorrow, y'all. We're going to quilt this tomorrow. What a perfect wall hanging. I have an empty wall in my office, y'all. If you walk into my office, you're going to see that you can tell that I sew. So this is going on my empty wall. This is going on my empty wall. So we will be quilting this tomorrow. You guys will see this tomorrow. So, but all right, I'm going to have to let you guys go. I got to get to my workout this morning and I got to get to work. Anybody going to go to work for me? Nobody ever wants to go to work for me. I always ask everybody that works with me, is like, you guys want to trade jobs? No. Oh, well. So come back and join me tomorrow. We will be quilting. See you tomorrow. So, yeah, right, Amy? So you guys all have a wonderful day. And thanks again for joining. Thank you again for joining. Yes, absolutely amazing day. Thank you guys very much. You guys all have a wonderful time. I am in Arizona time. So it is... what did we decide right now? Pacific time? because it is 6:30 here. So whatever time you're at, just subtract or add the hours. So it's 6:30 here right now. So I will be on at 4:30 tomorrow morning. So you are very welcome. You are very welcome. Pacific time. Thank you, Kendra. Thank you, Kendra. So 9:30 in Georgia. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. Y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.